Hello and welcome to Just Vintage Crochet. Today I have something very fun to show you that I recently got my hands on. I found this on Etsy and I paid a pretty sum for it, but in my opinion, it's beyond worth it. Okay, so what we have here is it says Tailor Made Clothing Company, those various addresses, buildings, Chicago, Illinois, spring and summer of 1895. We carry styles represented in this book the entire season. Now, before I show you what's in this book, it's not sewing. There is crochet in this book. In fact, there's nothing but crochet in this book. But after looking everything up about this, here's what I think this is. And I think this is very neat because you know how much I love handmade, like this handmade hook that I bought on eBay. I think that this is a sample book that door-to-door sales people, or maybe you go to the fabric store and this book, along with many other books like it from other companies, would be available for you to thumb through. Look at the designs and styles for dresses, suits, hats, whatever the case may be. Thumb through it some more, and it probably had fabric samples in it, leather samples and things of that nature, but certainly also materials. And I think somewhere in the book contained purchasing leaflets, a little where you can fill out your order. Hand it over to the clerk, give them the money, or maybe it's mail order, so you just simply give it to the clerk and then they bill you for it. This company bills you for it. So I think it's sort of a consignment thing, you know. In other words, the store that has this up and available, if it's not a door-to-door salesman, probably gets a small cut of the sale. So let me show you what I found online in regards to this company, and then I'll show you what I have in this book. You know, we keep it very technically advanced here. So I just hold my phone up to my computer. So I believe I have a semi-picture like this in the book. It's quite damaged, but I will show you. And I also found this for sale on eBay. It's one of the tickets that you would fill out, you know, for your order. I believe I have a partial of one of these as well. Again, very damaged, but I just wanted to show you what likely would have been in the book. Now, this is all from Tailor Made Clothing Company, 1895. So you can see what kind of samples they would have had available. And likely, you know, you look at the suit, probably a swatch of the material. Again, for the dress, probably a swatch of certain types of suedes and leathers and things like that. So now let's look inside the book. I panned the camera out a little bit, so it probably gave some darkening around the edge. Okay, this is actually in exceptionally good shape. I do believe this case is leather. I think it's a bonded leather, so easy to fall apart. As you can see, I do believe it's bonded leather, so only the very outer layer is some kind of leather. And it's backed by paper or cardboard. So here we have this, and I'll just read that to you. The accompanying samples represents a line of well-made clothing which we carry in stock throughout the season and can be shipped the same day as orders are received. We have on hand a full assortment of men's clothing ranging in sizes from 34 to 42, youths and boys' suits ages 12 to 19, and children's sizes from 5 to 15. We carry in stock only such garments as are indicated by the lot number next to each order. In ordering, give number, size, and price only. No sample of goods being necessary. Fashion plate showing various styles of garments can be found in the book. So perhaps this one here was specifically for men and boys. They mention nothing of women. So there we go. And before I show you any of the crochet, there is crochet in here. This, I believe, is a piece of one of the cards you fill out. Right there. This was included. These were included. I'm not sure what these are, but they were in the book. So she sent them. This was who I bought it from on Etsy, right there. That is the name of her shop on Etsy, and she does carry a lot of really cool stuff. And that's just I hope you enjoy. I surely will. Okay, I do believe that what I have here is a sample of a piece of clothing. You can see it went all the way up, but it's quite damaged and almost as if someone tried to remove it. It was probably glued down. And here I believe we have an ordering card. On the back of it, I believe, is where you do your ordering. So we look at this. I do believe this, it doesn't quite fit though. Doesn't quite fit. So anyway, let's look at what's inside this book. I think what happened was a lot of the samples, the sample pages, so I think this cloth is from 1895. I think that there was a lot of samples available on this cloth. Things were stitched to this cloth. It's really neat looking, isn't it? It's amazing to me to know that I am touching something that's this old. But what I think someone very cleverly did at some point after 1895, and there's no way for me to possibly know at what point, I think someone took all of the clothing samples and the pictures out of this book and replaced it with some of their own material and started using this book as their crochet sampler. You can see where they hand sewed everything in. I don't feel so bad about my sewing at all because that looks about as good as I would do. But I could not possibly tell you how old these pieces are. There's just no way for me to possibly know. No way on earth. It could be from the 20s, the 30s, the 10s, 1905. I don't know. Could not possibly know without a carbon dating machine. There's no way for me to know. But I think it's really neat. We have all kinds of little samples. Some things are sewn in, some things are not. So here's something I would like to do very much so, which is to recreate a lot of what I have in this book. How fun would that be? And it's better than having a drawing like we usually have. We will have the actual item. Of course, I'm not going to remove the ones that are sewn down, but look at how neat this is. You can almost block this. These are edgings. It would seem most of these are corners, borders, and edgings. In fact, that's all it is corners, borders. Not so much this. I think this is the kind of thing you would make over and over again to make drapes, a tablecloth, the center of a doily, the starter of a doily. But these are all going to be, for the most part, edgings, corners, and things like that. I would like to try to recreate them with no pattern needed. Look at that. That is so cool. Look at this one here is really, really damaged. It's just really stained up, but it has no smell. This thing must have been stored very well because this does not have a musky smell. You don't feel dirty after holding it. It doesn't have that mildewy type smell that burns your nose and like the back of your eyeballs after a while. Actually, this smells kind of powdery. It smells like a powdery, like it was stored with a bunch of women's things and it was all very, maybe a bottle of perfume in there, some kind of oil or salve or powder, but it just smells old and powdery. It smells like slightly musky. It has that I've been sitting around for over 100 years smell, but it also smells powdery. Look at that one there. That is some teensy weensy thread. I love that they didn't sew the tails in so I can really see and compare the thread sizes to what I already have. My goodness. This one here is really neat. It's just sort of doing that. We've got to figure out how to make some of these things. Look at that teeny weeny thread. There's another edging. So I think with ones like this, I think you make this part first and then do you add this part or no, it doesn't look added. It looks like it was worked in. So maybe you work it up to a certain point. This is all included, and then it starts again like right here. That is going to be interesting to figure. Oh, are you seeing what I'm seeing? All the stitches are on the same side. This has a front and back. Clearly, even right here, it has, wait, no. Is that where it's turned? This is the backs of stitches here, isn't it? See, I don't want you to lose focus. Is that the back of a stitch or the front? No, these are the backs of stitches. Did she cut at the end of every row? There's her tail. I'm assuming a woman made it, yes. I like that she worked around. She worked around the chains instead of through them. That gives a little indication, doesn't it? Definitely made in the 1900s, unless there were rule breakers like me in the 1890s, in the late 1890s. This is very interesting. I don't understand. She must have cut at the end of every row. Unless, no, you work. No, how do you make this? Like, seriously, how do you make this? Is that added on in any way? These are chains. This is one that has to be studied further because that is just interesting. Wow, look at the tiny thread that had to have been used to make this. Is there any way I can open you up? Look at the tiny thread. Bear in mind, that's chain stitches right there. That's not the size of the thread. I'm going to need a magnifying glass. And to make sure my camera will stay in focus, look at that. That is amazing. What size thread is that? That's got to be size 80 or 100. Let me see. I'm not going to ruin this in any way, shape, or form. I just need something with a slight point just so that I can try to pull up one strand. Okay. We'll put you over here so that you don't keep falling. And I don't want you to get ruined. I see the littlest strand right here. Look at that. That is the thickness of this thread, isn't it? Yeah, because this is chains. That's chains right there. Oh my, this was called Russian crochet in the late 1800s, in the 1890s and the 1880s. This chevron was called, and it was backstitch only, by the way. Did she actually get the back loop onlys on this? Did she actually? Because it kind of looks like she did. Remarkable. Russian crochet was something referred to when you work in a chevron stitch in the back loop only, and some patterns will assume Russian crochet is simply back loop only, and we'll call working back loop only Russian crochet, even if it's not chevron. But this is called Russian crochet, and it did not come from Russia. They called it that so that it would sound exotic. Just like Tunisian crochet does not come from Tunisia, it turns out it likely comes from Scotland or Ireland, but likely Ireland. They named it Tunisian because the Irish were peasants back then. They were sort of the slave class. And so they had to name it something else so that it sounded more outer worldly and exotic, just like this here Russian crochet, which was actually created by the British. Isn't that interesting? They used a little bit of this thin thread here to sew it down. Oh, oh, wow. Look at this here. That's the thread size. Look at that. That looks knitted. Hold on a minute. Are we looking at crochet and knit? To my knitting folks out there, isn't that knitted? Let me find somewhere safe for that needle. Is that knit? That is knit. So we have some knitting in here too. Now, is that a combination of, no, because that's twisted right there. That's not any kind of crochet at all. This is all knitted. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's move on. I'm really kind of examining all of this for the first time. Now, this is not crochet. This is like batting. This is something that they bought like this. This is a ribbon, do you see? This is just a ribbon that they added to this. And is this knitting or crochet? Because now I have to ask. This is crochet. This is crochet. And it looks like they were sampling the sample. Just using a bunch of different, look at this, they didn't quite, they were just sort of playing around with it. That's interesting. Look at that right there. Hopefully the magnifying glass is helping you guys to see this as well as it's helping me. And yeah, that's all crochet. That looks like a very tiny thread, but a much bigger hook than the thread calls for. Look at these stitches right here. They're very loose. Very loose. And what are you? You're crochet again. Tiny thread with a hook bigger than was intended for that thread. That's how you get that fluffy, loose look. As many of you know, I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new. Whoa, this looks like Irish crochet here. It is. This is Irish crochet. Oh, wonderful. I get to look at real life vintage Irish crochet. Like, do you know how many months I have been working on learning how to do this? It's not easy, especially if you're learning pretty much by yourself with books and stuff. This is for real Irish crochet. This right here, what you're looking at right here, this is what saved crochet from just falling out of favor in England. It was Queen Victoria. God save that queen. Queen Victoria fell so deeply, madly in love with Irish crochet that she began commissioning it for herself from the Irish directly, and Scottish, who were also making Irish crochet. And because Queen Victoria learned how to crochet, but she could do the basics. She could not do, this is hard, y'all. If you're watching right now and you can do Irish crochet, I bow so hard. She could not do it, and she was so incredibly impressed by it. And you can tell wait, is this Irish crochet or is this tatting? Oh, wait a minute, is this tatting? It's tatting. We can still talk about Irish crochet. Hopefully some's in here. She did save crochet because whenever she became obsessed with Irish crochet, and then it got out that she had learned how to actually crochet, of course, the British artists wanted to get into crochet and started writing patterns. And of course, that's why we have books from the 1840s filled with patterns with stitches in them that don't even have names yet. We have crochet books dedicated to her, the Queen of Crochet. This is tatting. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself. I got a little excited thinking that this was Irish crochet. It has similar features to Irish crochet, but this is tatting. So to anyone that was yelling, that's tatting, you're right. It surely is. This is very interesting here. Look at the tiny thread that had to be used to make this. Oh my goodness gracious me. Look at that. It barely registers on camera. Look at that. Now, you're just okay, yes, I see how this one goes. It's like little pine cone, shell, and then probably another little pine cone. Isn't this interesting? Oh, I absolutely love this. I wish I knew what year the person made these, or at least what decade. I doubt they just made them all in one year. What a clever way to use this old salesman's book. Look at that. Now that is ribbing. Back and forth. Oh, that's cute. Isn't that interesting? See, that's one of the ones we're going to have to look at, and because I can't take it. Oh, hey, look, I can look under it though. So I made something kind of similar to this. in a video, I bet we can work this one out if we really tried. This person likely had the benefit of a pattern with a picture, but we have the actual sample here. We should be able to make this work. I mean, I'm just mostly blown away at the tiny thread. Oh, I likely won't be able to make a lot of these in the same exact thread because it's really, my eyes are just really getting bad. I wish that they were in better shape, but I'm not that upset about it because come on, you know, this could be from the 1910s. If this is a fresh book that somebody, like if this book was only 3 or 4 or 5 years old, we're talking about this was the 1900s somebody started putting their scraps in here. Or maybe it was the 1960s and they found this book in their grandmother's attic and were like, I said attic, and we're like, I think I know what I can do with this. Let's get rid of all these pictures of men's clothing and put something more interesting to me in there, you know? That is interesting. Now that's tatting as well. This is also tatting. Let me get my magnifying glass here. You can see the loops. This is 100% tatting. Very interesting. I barely know how to do tatting, and I just know how to do needle tatting. And again, even with needle tatting, the very bare bone basics. There we go. Holy. Okay, look at the thread size on that. Let's see if I can, I think I can focus it in here. Look at the thread size on this. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can. Okay, here's a piece of it. Here we go. This one here will be safer to pick. Oh wait, no, here's actual tail. Here's an actual tail. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Look at the thread size. How did you do this? Okay. So they used a hook bigger than the thread required because these stitches are very loose and fluffy. Do I blame them? Absolutely not. Look at how pretty this is with the little clovers. Your clovers looked so much better than mine. You guys remember that mystery video I did with the clovers? Oh, what a joke that was. I did not do them. Them clovers were square. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that. Again, super tiny thread, loose hook. This is that lover's knot stitch. I made a whole dress in this stitch way back in, you got to scroll all the way back to the beginning of this channel to find it, but I made a whole gown from the 1930s, with this stitch here. The whole gown, rosettes and all. My first huge project on this channel. Really haven't made any projects that big since. That was a lot. This is all just the teensy weensiest. Look at this. This is a chain. That's a chain stitch. The teensiest weensy. Whoa. Oh, that is gorgeous. Is this tatting again? I think it is. I do. Let me see if I can make sure my camera is focusing. That's tatting again. I'm going to see if I can pull it up so you can really see those squiggle inner stitches. Right there. That's tatting. Oh, that's neat. I do want to try to make as many of these as I can. That is an involved project right there. That right there would take a couple of days to make, if not more. Am I skipping any? No. Oh, the importance. Look. I'm trying to find my scrapbooks. Okay, some people have asked me where are my scrapbooks. Ever since I rearranged my living room, I can't find them. I know they're not in my garage because no way in heck I would put my scrapbooks in 127-degree garage. No. So they're in this house somewhere. I've looked under my bed. I have looked everywhere, and I don't know where I put them. The only thing I can think of is I shoved them in my hall closet where I have been storing all of my makes that I can't really wear in Arizona because, again, it's Arizona. And a lot of the stuff I've made for the channel, the sweaters and the turtleneck poncho and things like that, I've shoved a lot of that stuff in there. and I think I buried it. So it's a pretty big job. I got to go through that closet, but I think that's where my scrapbook is. This is why it's important to keep a scrapbook of your makes, your sample, like a sampler book. It doesn't matter how old you are, start making one, because at some point, 100+ years later, a bunch of people are going to be sitting around going, ooh and ah at the beautiful works you made. What I ask is that you leave some type of identifying information, a first name, the state or country, province of that country you're from, the year you started, and maybe even put, if you're working on paper, maybe even put the date that you inserted that piece. And because history will want to know, because I have this book, my only indication is that this was made for sure sometime after 1895. This could be from the 80s. This could be from the 50s. This could be from any time after 1895. And wouldn't you love to know as much as I would? So make a scrapbook, but without giving too much, super, like no middle and last name, birthday, none of that. First name, state, country, province, region of the world, the day you put that in. Why? Because it was storming for a week, so I made this and I put it in. It's April 17th, 2027. Imagine people 100 years later looking at that and going, this is absolutely remarkable. On YouTube, that will still be around, no doubt. I love this. This almost looks like a top, doesn't it? Like a summer top. Like you could just bring this in and that could be the cups. Okay, we got some Greek key here, again, with just the unbelievably tiniest thread ever to make that with. Look at all of this. So I did make something very similar to this right here with a whole, I'll have to link that video down below. It's not a mystery pattern. It's a dedicated tutorial from the year 1900 or 1901. And this is added on afterward. So that's how that one works. Now this gets added on like this, and then you go, and when you get to this point right here, then you make this part and you keep going. This looks like of the Orient, a beautiful Japanese fan or something. That's using that batting again. Oh, so much of this is just, what is this? This is cording. Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, this is crochet. You see how they put little picots on there? And then they took some cording and they tacked the cording down. They shaped it and tacked that cording down. Get that close for you to get a good look at that. That is so interesting and so talented. Talk about a real sampler piece. This is tatting down here. Then we have crochet. Is this crochet? I do not want to tear that. This is crochet. So they have some tatting attached to crochet, attached to some cording, or with some cording attached on top. Looks like they were getting ready to start another one of these squares here. This is so wonderful. I don't want to ruin that. Oh, I like this one a lot. Oh, isn't that elegant? Okay, I really want to learn how to make this one. That is just so unbelievably elegant. Can you see it? How it comes out like that? Oh, that is fancy. We'll have to really study this one and see precisely how it starts. I imagine it starts with a whole bunch of chains. You start on this end over here. I'll have to really, really study that one there. I'd love to make that. And then here we are at the back. That is just so cool. Oh, look at this one here. The little shamrocks. That is so cool. Okay, so I will bring this back, open on this side, and we'll put this right here for now. And I'll just put these things here for now, just sort of loose-leafed. Isn't that interesting? Very, very cool. Oh, oh, oh. Careful. So for the most part, it's going to live in the packaging I got it in. It's a good little, it's a thick piece of plastic. And this will go over on my shelf of patterns, as I'm going to treat this as a pattern book. And this is going to have to actually be folded like this. There we go. So I'm going to treat this like a pattern book, essentially. I'm going to try not to handle it too much, only whenever I need to study it. And I think what I'll do is take some really good high-def pictures of the one I want to study so that I don't touch this as much. The least amount I touch it, the least amount chance it has to being ruined and mucked up by my hands and the elements. Fortunately, I am in Arizona, so that will help preserve this because it's very dry and arid here. So it won't degrade any faster being here in Arizona. It'll actually slow down in its degradation. Okay, I don't know if degradation was the right word, but it sure made me feel smart to say it, so I'm going to go with that. So I need to study. I think the first one I want to do is the one that I really fell in love with at the back. Yeah, it is. It's falling apart a little bit. So I definitely need to handle it as little as absolute possible. I will take some high-def pictures. I've got the latest, greatest iPhone Pro. I can get some really good pictures and further improve them on Canva and really study those stitches and just touch it as little as possible. But I wanted to share that with you all and to say thank you so much to Maud's Vintage Wear for getting me the book within a matter of a few days after I ordered it. You can check out her Etsy shop right there. She's Vintage Goods, Ruby Lane, Etsy, and Poshmark. So Maud's Vintage Wear on Etsy. Check her out. She's got clothes from a lot of different decades, including the 80s. If you're into that, I did see that she has a pair of earrings on there from the 80s. I'm kind of tempted just because they are wild and I would kind of love. Okay, let me just show. Here's what her Etsy shop looks like right there. Maud's Vintage Wear. She is a star seller. And let me tell you, shipping from Illinois, Dixon, Illinois, it got to me in like 3 days. So here's a bit of what she has to offer. And you get, oh, look at is that a comb? Oh, it is. Faux tortoise shell. Little bit of what she has to offer. I like dishes like this. Here's my proof. I love little dishes like that for holding stuff. So I was just scrolling. She has something I want to try to recreate. I took a picture of it. I want to try to recreate it with you guys on the channel. I was very inspired whenever I looked at it. I have so much ribbon. Did I go? Oh, look at these salt and pepper shakers, by the way. Aren't those neat? Oh, for the Catholics out there, look at that. Is stunning. Oh, look at that vintage sewing kit. Let's look at what it looks like inside. Let's see here. What do the drawers look like though? Oh, there we go. Oh, it looks real clean inside. Okay. Cute. There we go. Cute. Okay. I love stuff like this, and I don't even sew. Did I go past the earrings? Sorry, guys. I'm a better crocheter than I am a cameraman. Yeah, I annoy myself too. I'm annoying. I'm as annoyed as you are. Look at that 1970s dress. I would have said that was 80s, but what do I know? I was barely born in 1980. I'll have to take your word for it. Lady Windsor. Oh, only $39. Oh, it's a hostess dress. Got a little crochet doll there. Crochet apron. This is very interesting. Coronation style. This is a makeup like purse that you take with you. Okay, where's the earrings? That's what I'm most interested in showing you. Did I go past them? Just a moment. So this I saw, this is a pillowcase. It's vintage. She is only asking $15 for it. So if you guys want it, come get it. If one of you really wants to have that, it's beautiful. I took a picture of it because I want to try to recreate it. I think that would be so fun. To me, it looks like you just make 3 strips and you adorn it with ribbon. And then you just sew it to some material on the back and put a little pillow in it. I think that looks like fun. So one day I would really like to try to do that. Look at these absolutely wonderfully 80s earrings. I want them. I really do. I could totally see myself wearing those. They're so perfectly 80s. Just that almost sophisticated level of gaudiness. Was this not the 80s? Can you picture it? The lady who wore this wore a big sun hat, but with a low top, right? A low profile top, thin sun hat, black. These earrings, fuchsia lipstick, pearl and gold adorned necklace, fake of course, a pencil skirt with a silk blouse and a matching, I would say, tailor-waisted blazer on top, and some high heels with black nylons. Yeah, and chunky gold bangle bracelets. Yes, the kind that are like that wide. Yeah, I can picture it. I kind of want these. How ridiculous is that? What I'll do, I'll just go ahead and leave a link to her shop. I'm just a customer of hers. Her and I have no affiliation outside of me being a customer, and I left a really nice review because I did get this in a very, very fast amount of time, and it was exactly precisely as described. It's in excellent condition, as you saw, and it's essentially a IRL pattern book. I'll leave a link to her shop. Check out her wares if you're interested in that kind of stuff. That little makeup purse thing looked interesting. And that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And obviously, I want to know what you think of those patterns. I really want to try that beautiful one that was doing the sideways pineapples on that second to last page. I really want to study that one first, I think. I'm going to take some pictures of that. And we'll see what we can do. Okay, guys, I love you lots. And remember, always keep your eye out for cool finds like this for yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.